Welcome back to the Better Men, Better Ball Player podcast. I'm your host, Trey Cobb. I want to thank you for joining us here on our 111th episode of the podcast where we get a chance to talk to Mike Kazlausky, Coach Kaz from the Air Force Academy. This was just an amazing conversation that I just blessed to be able to have with Coach Kaz. I've just heard unbelievable things and just being able to reach out to him. Big shout out to Coach Sheets for helping make the connection. And it's just a remarkable conversation, inspiring to be able to talk to, as Coach Kaz calls the Air Force, the America's team. The American team skipper has been this is his 13th year at Air Force. Been there since 2011. In his first year, he set the program record for wins, as well as been the second most in school history at the Division I level, as they've been competing. So in his first year, they set the record for most wins in the program, which was the second most in school history when they started competing Division I. He has won over 200 wins at Air Force. In 2016, they posted a 30-27 record, which was the most wins for any Air Force squad. Second most for any Air Force squad. He's had 6 draft picks, 5 All-Americans, 3 freshman All-Americans. But beyond this, and even Coach Kaz would tell you, this was all while having create and influence and lead young men to help better our country first and foremost, to create and help them be better officers, be better husbands, and be better fathers first and foremost. And you'll hear that in the inspiring message that Coach Kaz has throughout the conversation and his beliefs and what he comes out. And I think there's things to take away from any program or any team that you're leading from his talks about expectations and accountability. How do you define success? How you define winning? You know, the example that you're setting. How do you know your people? There's so much self-reflection during this whole conversation and beyond that I think it can listen to it multiple times. I think you can, and it pertains to anything that you're kind of leading, from a team, from your family, and just, again, leading our own lives. So, Coach Kaz, I can't thank him enough. Want to go on and thanking our sponsors. Netting pros, netting professionals are improving programs one facility at a time. Netting professionals specialize in design, fabrication, installation of custom netting for backstops, batting cages, dugouts, scoreboards, BP screens, and ball carts. They also design and install digital graphic wall padding, windscreen, turf protectors, dugout benches, dugout cubbies, and more. Netting professionals continue to provide quality products and services to many recreation, high school, and college fields, facilities, and stadiums throughout the country. Contact them today at 844-620-2707 or info@nettingpros.com. Visit them online at www.nettingpros.com or check out Netting Pros on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for all their latest products and projects. So, big shout out to Will Meyer and the guys at Netting Pros, again, for helping make all this happen and giving us a bigger platform to let guys, to hear guys' conversation like Coach Kaz, and just an incredible conversation once you guys get into it. Again, thank you for hanging on. I think this is a multiple listen. I think you might have to stop, reflect. I know I had to, and just as we had the conversation, because it was pretty remarkable and fortunate to have it. So again, Coach Kaz, want to thank you enough. If you're not following them, follow Coach Kaz on Instagram, look social media. I mean, Air Force speaks for itself, but they're doing some amazing things. They continue to do amazing things. Again, and baseball is a small part of it, as Coach Kaz, which you'll hear. So here he is, Coach Kaz from the America's team, the Air Force Academy. Coach Kaz.
I like to always ask people, Trey, because, baseball's so important. Baseball's important. I'm like, who won the World Series last year? Who won the World Series 2 years ago? You got to think about it. I don't know. I mean, did the Yankees win last night? I heard on the radio they didn't. Who's playing in the NLCS? The Philly. Oh, okay. I don't even know, because to me, it really doesn't matter. I could tell you everything about the kids. I can tell you about their academic advisor. I can tell you what their majors are. I can tell you who their teachers are. I can tell you what their GPAs are. I can tell you everything about their family. I can tell you about the kids' families are going through divorces, kids that parents have maybe died of cancer. I mean, I can tell you the really important things in life, but I will not and cannot tell you, who won the Major League Baseball batting title. I don't know. And I don't really care, actually, because it's really irrelevant to me. 30 years ago, when I was probably a young coach, or when I was back like playing wise, yeah, that meant a lot to me. But now, being 53, I can care less. It doesn't make a difference in my life. As long as the Bears win, I'm happy on Monday night, but that probably won't happen. As long as the Ravens win today, I'd be happy as well. But no, Trey, just you can say.
I was thinking of just getting into that right there, like you said, knowing their GPA, and if their mom, if someone significant passed away, like, are you pretty intentional about that? Like with the relationships that you're getting with your kids, like how do you meet? How are you figuring all those things out?
For me, it's, you got to ask. It's like anything in life, and you got to communicate. And from a leadership perspective, the reality is, from a leadership perspective, you got to know your people. You got to take care of your people, and you got to lead by example. And to know your people, you got to know everything that's happening in their life. You got to know about their girlfriends. You got to know about what's happening at their home. You got to know about their roommates. You got to know everything. How are you supposed to be an effective leader if you don't know these things? And there was plenty of times when growing up, even when I was a young coach, I got slapped in the face a lot. And it was very unfortunate. It took me a long time to learn. I remember once my daughter was about 11 years old, and I just took over the program at the academy. And she had a travel soccer game up in Denver. And we had a recruiting weekend. We had parents here. We had recruits here. We had a home football game. The game started at 12 o'clock. And I told my daughter, I'll be there. I'll be at your soccer game, hour away. Halftime came for the football game. Halftime went by, and I didn't leave. So I missed my daughter's soccer game. And I came home that night, and she came home. I said, hey, how'd your soccer game go? My daughter looked at me and said, Dad, you said you're going to come to my game. I said, well, I had parents here and recruits. I really want to make sure it was going to be a great time. How'd your game go? My daughter turned her back on me and walked away. And that was a huge slap in the face for me as a coach, as a young head coach. And, what are my priorities in life? What am I showing my players? And how am I once again going to be an effective coach, effective leader, if I can't even be a dad? And I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And I had a meeting with our players on that Monday when I got back to school, and I was crying and told them the story. And they said, Coach, you don't need to be here for every individual instruction. You don't need to be here for every weightlifting session. And I took that to heart, and I don't. Family definitely comes first. I want that preached to our kids to understand that family is really important. And I have a son. My son played football, peewee football. So on Saturdays, inter-squad day, hell, I'd go halfway through the inter-squad. I'd be like, hey, guys, I'm rolling. I got to go. And they're, hey, tell your son good luck. Hey, well, and they would sometimes the guys would come and show up. And it was awesome for my kid. And, all my players know my dog. All my players know my garage code. They know my wife. They know everything about my wife. Like, we get them home sometimes. She's like, who the heck's here? I'm like, I don't know. Rando kids, baseball guys at our house. So, but I want them to understand that I want them to see me outside of just a coach. I want them to see me as a dad. I want them to see me as a husband. And hopefully I'm doing things the right way for them that I'm going to be a good role model mentor to the kids.
How has that impacted you? Like, and so when you started to show them what you were outside of it, how did that impact what the kids did in your program?
Well, Trey, when I first took over, and I've been at the academy a long time. When I was a young coach, probably 23, when I first came back to coaching, when I was an assistant, I didn't give a crap about the kids in regards to their school. I didn't care about their character growth. I didn't care about their military performance at the Air Force Academy. I just cared about the scoreboard. I was just concerned about, are we going to be on the left side or the right side? And as long as we were on the left side, I can care less. So that winning was all that mattered. And, the crazy thing is, how do you define winning? How do you define success? And especially at the academy, this is a little different beast that we're around. And once I finally got over the fact of it's not just a scoreboard, the kids believe in you more. They respect you more. You have a better rapport with them. I used to be their big brother. Now I'm the dad. Soon enough, I'm be like grandpa to these kids. And I just feel we have just such a better relationship that far outweighs just between the white lines, which is truly more important because my job is to develop these young men, not as baseball players, but as men. And if I'm not doing that the right way, I'm worthless, and I need to move on and find a different position, and somebody else can sit in the seat. So, yeah, these are my boys. I love them dearly.
I guess I know a question I get just especially with younger coaches. We were talking about coaches listening to podcasts and coaches like just trying to learn, right? I think that's a commonality between a lot of coaches there too. So I guess a question would be like, what if you were the way you are now as that 23-year-old? Do you feel like you'd be in the same place that you are in now? Like, where do you feel like you would be if you started like how you are now? And what if as a 23-year-old you started to do the things that you're doing now?
Trey, I think I'd be divorced. And I truly do. And because I didn't understand life. And yes, there's a growth and maturation that takes part in all of us to become better of who we are. And it's funny, at the Air Force Academy, our mission's a lot different than other schools. It's not just about producing a baseball player or winning a Mountain West Conference championship. We're trying to develop future warfighters for us. And yes, all these kids are on a $500,000 full ride scholarship at our school. But their job and responsibility is to go put on our nation's uniform and to be part of those 1%ers to go serve and fight and hopefully put warheads on foreheads and turn people into hair, teeth, and eyeballs, And because we're making war fighters, and that's kind of the main mission, the main impact here. And, I'll share a story with you. Is there was a time, I think I was probably about 30-something years old, and my son was newborn. He's probably about 6 months old. My daughter was 3. And I was over in Kuwait. And I've been gone for about a couple of weeks. I was flying jets, and we got told to stop. I'm like, oh, crap. We got a new mission. We were supposed to come back. I was going to go home, and I was told we're not going home. And I'm pissed off, and I just want to see my kids and very selfish in that regard. And lo and behold, about an hour later, I get a phone call from our command and control. It states, you're going to do an HR mission. And everyone out there, baseball folks out there going, oh, HR, what the heck's HR? It's definitely not a home run. And people go, it's human resources. No, it was human remains. And we had a roadside bomb that blew up 4 Marines a couple days prior, and my job was to bring them home. And it really puts into true focus of the mission at hand in regards to from a military perspective that we're here to serve and fight. And there's other folks that are going to do so much more than any of us. And, it was a pretty solemn event where you wait for the boys to come out in the freezer truck and put their flag draped caskets onto the airplane and fly them home to mom and dad and spouse and kids. And it gives you really a better understanding of life. And for the young men and women that attend this institution, that they're willing to sacrifice and raise their hand for you and I. This is so much bigger than baseball. And there's so many young coaches out there that don't get it. There's so many old coaches out there that don't get it. They're playing for the championships, and that's it. And they're not playing for the development and, once again, the maturation of these young men and women, whatever sport it is. And it's just very unfortunate that we got to, and I believe me, I'm not saying, everyone's going to get a blue ribbon. Everyone's going to get the orange Gatorade at the end of the day. Yes, I believe in winners. I believe in losers, as our mission in the Air Force is to fly, fight, and win. But on top of that, we got to do it the right way. And we got to hold kids accountable. And when we say we got to hold kids accountable, we got to hold coaches accountable too. And the practices and the techniques that they teach and the coaching that they do, that they believe in, that's going to be at work the right way. And, I've just seen a lot of different methodologies to what people do, coaches do. And, for me, it's a lot more bigger than the X's and O's now. It's about treating these kids with respect and dignity. And once again, loving and telling them how much I do care about them, because the more they know how much I care and I respect them, the more they're going to give back. And I've been through the ringer and different opportunities that have been presented in my life, and I'm very thankful for all those. And now it's just trying to figure out how to take what I've learned, not only as a dad, not only as a husband, but what I learned through my military background and present to these young men and women, whether they're at the Air Force Academy, whether they're just civilians that are out there, and once again, treat them the right way, that they're going to become better model citizens for our country. Hell, I don't even know if I answered your question, Trey. I don't even know what it was, but.
For sure, absolutely. So I have a question of, I guess just through all that you talk about, because you kind of made a point about holding the coaches accountable too. Can you kind of like, I guess, two things, like, so how do you kind of do that? Like, what do you mean in terms of that? Especially, I think as just being a head guy, knowing the staff management part is always a big task, and then especially like in your world, how much accountability you must have.
Well, from a coaching perspective, if I'm not living out, if I don't live my life with great morals and values and being accountable to myself and from my coaches too, to make sure that they're accountable for all their actions. And if they don't believe in our institution and our mission at the end of the day, my coaches out here and myself included, our number one primary goal is not to win baseball games. Our mission statement is real clear. It's very simple. Our job is to develop these men into great husbands, great fathers, and just great men. That's it. Great husbands, great fathers, great men, period. And I tell that to parents all the time when they come out there on the recruiting visit with their kids. And I said, this is our mission. This is it. Great husbands, great fathers, great men. Nothing about baseball. There is absolutely zero about baseball. Our vision, though, we take a boy, we make him into a man. We take a man and make him into a warfighter. Because that's what our nation needs, is these special 1%ers out there. They're going to go kick some ass for us and do bad things to bad people for us. But if my coaches aren't on board with that, I don't want them on our staff. And you talk about other coaches that are out there. Set high expectations. Set standards for your program. But you got to live up to those same standards, and you got to live up to those same expectations. And you can't talk out of one end and not believe in the other side. So for our folks here, we set a lot of things in motion that we are going to do the right thing. At a military school, there are a gazillion rules and regulations that people are supposed to follow and adhere to. I keep it really simple for the baseball program here. We have one rule. Let's do it right. Our kids know the difference between right and wrong. It's about doing it right. Just this past week, we had a young man that he's not going to be traveling with us to Oklahoma State next weekend. He didn't adhere to the standards of our school. He wasn't in the right uniform at a right time. And that irritated me. It irritated the kids on the baseball team, because we do our things right. And along with that, he has some other issues that he has some other areas that he's going to have to fix as well. That he's going to help out our cadet wing here. So not only is he going to travel, he has some other punishment per se, and we're just going to hold him accountable to the standards of our school, because hell, if I can't get him to wear the damn right uniform when he's supposed to, how's he going to perform on a baseball field? More importantly, Patton once said something very similar to that regard. You can't get him the right uniform to wear, how you expect him to die for our country? And the same thing applies. I can't get him to wear the damn right uniform. How is he going to compete on a baseball field? How am I going to make him better? If I just say, oh, yeah, those are the crazy, stupid rules here at the academy, we don't worry about that when we're on the baseball field, that's baloney. You know, I buy into our school, I buy into our military, buy into everything that is happening. And at the end of the day, that kid screwed up. He's going to accept the consequences for his actions. And we're going to run a tight ship here. We're going to be the best team at our school, and that's going to continue as we always move forward, to treat these kids, once again, with respect and dignity, but to hold them accountable, hold them to high expectations, and hold them to the standards. Sorry, Trey. I
love it. Because I honestly, Coach, I think what you just said there had so much value for anyone. It's like, we had to buy into the school. We're going to buy into like you said, your military, the military presence, as well as your program. So it's not just like, oh, I'm only concerned about my program. And that could stand for anyone. It's like, your program is also attached to the community, which is also attached to the school. Where I think what you said there has so much value of, like, as a coach, you have to have all three of them. And as you as a coach, if you don't buy into the school, then the kids aren't going to perform as well in school. If they're not buying in the community, the kids aren't going to be as great at community members, and trying to be that example that it sounds like you're really trying to make them. So I think that's extremely great way to say it.
Well, what's important here, Trey, is with these kids, I mean, they've raised their hand to die for you and for me, for our country. Is baseball, I believe in so much in sport. I mean, why the kids play games, whether you're at high school, little league, whatever it is. I mean, the reason you play sport is not for just to win. You know, it is about to deal with stress, pressure, adversity, teamwork, cohesive unit, winning, losing, the ups and downs of it. You learn so much about who you are as a man and who you are going to become in life. And that's just a continuum here, is that we believe in sports so much because that's going to make you a better military officer out there. That's going to help us continue to be the number one military fighting force in our world. So that is the main goal here. I don't have 35 baseball players that I'm responsible for. I have 4,000 young men and women that if I don't do my job right, I'm putting our country at jeopardy. So there's a lot more to this institution and what these kids sign up to do than just saying, oh, I'm going to go to the Air Force Academy to play baseball. No, you're not. You're coming here to be a cadet. You're coming here to serve in our United States Air Force. You're coming here to be a military officer. You're coming here to be a leader of character. And including in that is that you have an opportunity to come and play baseball. So we have kids commit all the time. And I'll even tell them how to put their social media stuff up. I tell them how they're going to do it and why they're going to do it that way. Because it's always about character, because character does matter at the end of the day. It definitely matters. And it irritates me when you see these kids that commit somewhere when they're in 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade, whatever it is, early on, going to play baseball at school. I'm like, parents, come on. Have you even visited the school? Have you gone out there? Hell, as coaches, we can't really talk to these kids yet. Now you're going to commit this kid to the biggest decision of his life. And as a parent, I want to ensure not only my kid's success, but all the citizens out there, all these young men and women, that they're making the right choices for the right reasons and to have a great understanding. Because you look at the transfer portal right now, Trey, it is a poop show that's going on in our college community. And, everyone's like, well, not good enough, go. I'm going to move on, stretch, go this way. The days of developing young men into better baseball players, I think it's kind of come and gone, because if it doesn't work out immediately, coaches get rid of you, the kids they can move on, and you don't even develop a relationship. And how are you going to develop these kids into men when we don't even have enough time? And we just treat these kids like a darn piece of meat, and we kick them to the curb instead of trying to help them develop and grow and mature. And once again, not only as baseball players, but more importantly as men. Because a majority of these kids, 99% of them aren't going to play past college. And now we better be setting them up for life instead of just having them bounce around. And the NCAA, we got to do a little better job in policing in regards to having restrictions and regulations on whether it's a school, whether it's a kid, if they want to commit, decommit, whatever it is, we got to hold people accountable. And right now we're not. We got the NIL, name, image, likeness. I mean, our whole college athletics is somewhat being destroyed, and we are going to branch away and break into a couple of separate areas, because there's those that can, those that cannot. But I'm more than happy to be part of one of those. Maybe they are part of the cannots, but I'm going to take a young man that's 18 to 21 and develop them. I don't get fifth year seniors here. I don't get COVID years. We get 4 years at this military school to properly train, inspire, and motivate these kids to go fight for our country. And hell, I got 21-year-olds playing against 25-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. We're going to compete. We're going to fight. And at the end of the day, once again, our mission is fly, fight, win. It's not fly, fight, compete. And we're going to do everything in our power to kick someone's rear end. And, if you ever look at our schedule, we don't play any home games because we don't fight wars on our home soil. So we're always on the road and we're ready to go out and compete. And that's kind of gets me jacked up a little bit and fired up a little bit in regards to NCAA, college athletics, college coaches, because I do believe in, once again, the respect, the dignity, the honor, the development, the growth, the maturation, and truly caring about these kids, because my boys on my team, those are my boys. I'm their dad. And yes, there's days I wear my black hat. There's days I want to put a foot in their rear end, or I'm going to give them a pat on the shoulder, but I'm going to treat them as such. I'm going to treat them like my son. And with doing that, the respect and love that I have for them, hopefully, is twofold along the way. So, all right.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Get me jacked up here. So I got just a couple things. I thought that was super interesting about, like, you didn't have a COVID year, and like you said, the college baseball, it's never been older than it is now. Like, the average age is, like you said, it's so much older now. So I think it's amazing the challenges that you met, because people have been following you. Like, you guys have still been very successful, and so I think it just goes to the test of what you're doing even as a program as well, where it's unique. Where like there's 22-year-olds still playing JUCO baseball. And let alone like 23, 24, 25-year-old that are playing, 4-year. So that's a hats off to you, Coach. That was pretty amazing. And you said you do not play home games?
Well, we play very few. We do have our conference schedule in regards to the Mountain West Conference, but we don't play many home games out this way. And once again, that's just fine. We're here to travel. We're here to take the fight to the enemy. We don't fight, once again, wars on our home soil. So we're definitely excited about all the travel that we get to do. We try to go play the best teams in the country, and we want to showcase who these young men are. Even next week, we're going to go out and play Oklahoma State, and Coach Holliday out there has asked, can I talk to his team? Of course. I'm excited to talk to his team about what our kids do. I'm excited to tell them about how our kids have raised their hands to die for each one of them. And when we play, we are playing a game. It's not war. And there's another area that really gets me fired up, Trey, is when people go, "This is going to be war today." War? And I'll ask people, "You been in war?" No. Then don't ever say it's going to be war, because it's not. It's a game. The game's over. You shake hands. We're Americans. We shake hands. We respect one another. So I've been in combat. I've been in war. And this is definitely not war. I got a little irritated this past year. We had a pretty good year. We go to Austin Regionals. We get beaten in the championship game by Texas. And I make a statement that this is bigger than baseball. And there's a lot of people out there that go, "Oh, that's a loser's mentality. That's why." And I got to go back and go, "You've been in Iraq? You've been in Afghanistan? You've been in combat? You've seen dead bodies?" No. I said, "Then don't tell me that this is not bigger than baseball. Because I'll tell you that it is. Because my job here is so much bigger than just producing a damn baseball player. These are about producing professional military officers that are going to be ready to lead our country." So it gets me a little irritated when people refer to it's bigger than baseball. And once again, there are no orange wedges in this occupation that these young men and women have raised their hand to go do. We don't get a participation. You may come home in a box with a flag draped over it. So that's the seriousness of what we do out here. Last year, we graduated 9 seniors. 7 are going to go fly jets. 1's going to medical school. 1's a combat rescue officer, which is basically the equivalent of a Navy SEAL, but the Air Force version of it. So, yeah, you go look at Texas. We play them. I don't know how many kids they get drafted. We don't have any. I got men that are here to fight for our country and to do it the right way. And I'm not saying, Texas did it the wrong way by any stretch. I mean, it was kind of cool. Even during the Texas regional trade, we get knocked out. They had 8,000 fans. I don't know how many were left. And, but as we're shaking hands after, the crowd erupts with a chant of USA. USA. And it was so powerful. It'd probably be, I won't remember the score. I can care less about what the score actually was. But that moment in time when you had 2 great schools shaking hands with USA being chanted, that was a win.
Yeah.
And when you start talking once again about defining winning and losing, if you have not figured it out as an adult, that's not just a scoreboard, you probably need to find a different occupation, because you're not going to be the right coach. And I wouldn't want you to coach any of my kids. So there's a lot bigger brand of success that's out there. It's just a matter of figuring out how to define it. And each person is going to be different. If we want to make the most out of every young man that's here and woman that's here, but with that, they got to figure that out on themselves. And I'm a big person. I always say this to our program. I don't believe in flipping the light switch. I mean, I want kids that are on. And that's in everything in life. And our philosophy on our team is really simple. It's one word. It's attack. And that's the type of mentality I expect of all the kids that are at our school, is to attack. Whether it's on the baseball field, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on their military programs, weight room, whatever it is attack life. The last thing we want is a kid that wants to sit on a damn couch and playing 4 hours of Fortnite till 3:00 in the morning. That's not my guy. You know, kids that want to attack life in every aspect of it. And if they're not, I can't have a kid that's going to be a light switcher. That I work hard on the baseball field. No, that's not my guy. There's a mentality. It's a life mentality that we're trying to teach these young men and women here.
It's a lifestyle, absolutely. Do you feel like in terms of your coaching staff, like, does it attract that guy? Like, does that guys come to you, or are you typically, or somebody giving you a recommendation where you reach out to them, like when you have coaches openings? Because again, it is a lifestyle.
Yeah, for us, it's easy. I mean, if I'm a coach out there, the 3 best jobs we'll say 5. The 5 best jobs, college coaching jobs: Army, Navy, Air Force, Merchant, Coast Guard. That if you have an opportunity as a coach, if you have an opportunity to go play these schools, you need to go play. If you have an opportunity to go visit that campus and go play. Because this is, once again, when we actually do have home games and we bring some teams out here, they want to come back because we tour them around our grounds. It's not your normal college weekend where you go from the hotel to the baseball field, back to the hotel. Here, I want every college program out there. I want college coaches to know what we do, why we do it. And this will be by far the best trip of their entire season. And this should be on their bucket list for coaches to go visit all the academies and give that experience to their college kids to see what these college kids are doing. And the best weekend of the year, whether it's college football, college baseball, or when the academies play one another, because they're playing for the true love of the sport. It's not to be drafted. It's not to go be an NFL player. It is truly for the love of the game and what we're learning from it. And, the coaches at the academies understand the mission at hand is to develop officers. They're going to be willing to sacrifice their lives for all of us. So that is true, and it's pure. And that's one area where I truly, once again, believe that we're getting away from is the pureness of college athletics. We're just a breeding grounds for the major leagues or NFL or whatever association it's going to be. So, it's another area that, it gets me excited for our coaches out here. I don't lose guys. And it's great because they understand why they're here. And, would we like to get paid more? Sure. We're government employees. But with that, no one wants to leave because they believe in the mission of our school, which is, once again, great men, great husbands, great fathers. And our mission actually is to develop leaders of a character for our Air Force and our Space Force that are going to go serve and fight. So I have the best coaches in the country. I just get to I flew jets. That was my career. Baseball wise, yes, I got to do some coaching, but the majority of my career has been a military officer, flying jets around the world. Having the opportunity to come back here, I get to be basically what we would call a squadron commander, and my assistant coaches are my director of operations. I do not micromanage, will not micromanage. I let them run the program in regards to the day-to-day ops. My job is to oversee and make sure everything else is running and keeping our house in order here. And I love the ability to have relationships with all our kids, and that is the biggest piece of life. And you always hear that when people state, state championships, whatever type of championship it is, but they don't have a relationship with those kids after they graduate, whether it's high school, college. And if that's your lasting legacy is because you have a few freaking trophies on the wall, I feel sorry for you. This is a lot more. If you haven't developed that relationship, you haven't left that lasting legacy, who the hell are you? Kind of you got to check yourself a little bit.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. It just has me just in my mind, absolutely just self-reflecting of all those things. But I guess at the end, would you explain how when you've made this change and how you're creating those players and how it's still helped develop your baseball program to be as successful as it has been?
Well, Trey, this the kind of what irritates me a little bit is when people go, well, you guys had a great year last year. Okay, yeah, we had a little more than on the left than on the right, and we got hot at the right time. I've been here, I guess, 12 years as the head guy, and we've had great years every year because it gets back to defining winning. As a military career officer, for me, defining winning, defining success is 4 years after these young men start. They walk across the stage, shake the President of the United States' hand, throw their hat in there in front of 20,000 people, Thunderbird jets ripping overhead. They're ready to go lead our country. And our reputation that we have for our baseball players that are now in the real Air Force is overwhelmingly such a positive thumbs up. That's the win. And yes, last year's great. We get some notoriety. We get to throw our name on the national stage a little bit. But, I will never question the last 11 years and the product that we've produced. It has been ultimate success. And I don't give a crap at the end of the day if we win 5 games or we win 50. The quality, the coaching, the standards, the expectations, the goals, the mentorship will not change. It's all going to be the same. You care about your kids. It gets back to leadership 101. You lead by example. You know your people. You take care of your people. You hold them accountable. You have great expectations for them, and you move forward. If you fall a little short, you fall a little short. If you do a little bit more, congratulations. But at the end of the day, you love your kids. They go out and they do great things, and you're still part of their lives as life continues. And that's the defining moment. So, hell, if you look at my record, and you might be like, holy crap, coach, you should have been fired a long time ago. Sure. Yeah, if that's how you're going to define success, is once again it's the left and the rights. And I think we're producing great young men here. We're the best team at the United States Air Force Academy, and I say that with a little bias, of course. But our kids are going to do our stuff right, and they understand the expectations are going to be set forth. And we lead the wing in regards to everything we do and why we do it. And we always want to be the number one program here. And I expect that to continue when these kids leave here, to always be number one and never flip that light switch ever.
I like that. I just really like that. I don't, when you said about, I don't want you to be a light switcher. I want you to always be on. That's super awesome. Because again, because that's just like, when do you work hard? Like, when do you not? Like, work hard is hard work. It doesn't never go away. I guess another thing for my coach is like thinking about like, all of that comes down to, like you said, is like, what do you define winning as, or what do you define success is, and it's like, it seems like that needs to be at the forefront of so more coaches, and like, what do you define, and what is your definition? Because like you said, you're not going to just bash the last, because like your definition of success kind of has always been met.
Well, how about for high school coaches? How
Right.
you define success? Is it going to be just conference championships, districts? Or are you going to go, you know what? I have my varsity team. I have my number 1 player. I got my number 18 player. I got my JV team. We got to set goals and expectations for every kid in that program, whether he's the freshman C team or your top dog that might be your 1 or 2 kids that go to a Division I school or get drafted. What are the expectations? What are the goals? Hey, Johnny, we're going to sit down with you. We're going to go over your academic goals for this semester, for this quarter. And all right, I've seen that you've been consistently about a 2.3 GPA. We're not just shooting for the minimums here. Johnny, what's your goal? Coach, I think I can get all Bs. Okay, great. A 3.0. Let's set that as a goal. But I will tell you here, Johnny, now, if we're going to go under that 2.3, we're not going to go past that. If you can't do that, you're not going to play. And you hold the kids' feet to the fire and you tell the parents about the same thing. You're playing high school baseball. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But we have these programs out there that high schools at whatever state it is, they're like, well, Johnny could have 2 Fs and a D and he's still able to play. That's bull crap. What are we teaching these kids about accountability? Are we making this kid going to be a productive citizen, or are we going to skirt the system just to make sure Johnny can get on the basketball court or the baseball field or the gridiron? So, my kid not traveling next weekend because he can't figure out what uniform to wear across when he's doing the wrong thing across our campus. That's not my fault. That's his fault. And, so accountability is huge. Expectations are huge. And we start setting those goals when these kids are young, the better off these kids are going to be. And, we just got to get away. These coaches out there have to get away from just, yes, I believe in winning. Winning is fun. Winning is important, but you got to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of value in what you just said there about, like, I think taking every kid and giving them certain goals. And like you said, I'm assuming that you said, I'm going to talk about this academic goal because, yeah, he's number 16, 17, 18 on the depth chart. So we're going to focus on his specific goals and how he can get better.
Yeah, you got to care and love everybody.
Yep.
You can't play favorites. And, I play favorites, of course. We all do. But my last kid on the program is just as important as number one, especially here at the academy where he's going to go serve and fight. And, he might die for me. It's kind of cool, though, at the academy. We do have a special group of young men and women that are here that are they're just, I don't want to say normal kids because, to take this type of opportunity, you got to be a little bit different. And I like kids that want to be different. I don't want our kids that ever want to settle. We have the adage of iron sharpens iron. And that's what we are all about here. Iron sharpens iron at this institution is that we're going to promote greatness. And we want kids to conform to a higher level. And I remember my daughter, she just graduated from the academy. It took her 5 years. She had to go to a preparatory school. She gets through here. She's going to go fly jets. She wants to do, once again, bad things to bad people. And when she was a freshman, she was skiing up in Vail. We're in Colorado, ski mountains 2 hours away. And I called her on a Saturday night. She's in Vail with her buddies. I said, what are you guys doing? Just got off the mountain. I said, what are you going to do later? She goes, Dad, I think we're probably going to get cleaned up, get a bite to eat, and we're going to study chemistry.
Yeah.
Exactly, Trey. That's my same round. I'm like, study chemistry on a Saturday night. Who the hell would be doing that? But the kids here, they were going to ski again on Sunday. They're going to drive back. They had a test Monday morning. They knew they had to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the cool atmosphere that you're surrounded by at this institution where, the kids buy into each other. And, there's so many programs. Here's a good one for you too, Trey, is that every program out there there's a word that everyone calls each other. And we're a family. Everyone's a family. Come join our family. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, crap, there's no family. It is a meat market. Next guy up. Who's part of this family? Where's the development? Where's the, helping these kids mature? But here it truly is a family because everyone wants each other to do well. Every kid is, once again, on a full ride academic scholarship. We all want kids to succeed, to go serve and fight for our country. So even the 4,000 kids that attend this university are rooting for one another to do well because we're all bought in. We don't get a replacement at our institution if someone does not fulfill their obligation while they're here. And we do believe in the Darwin theory. We do weed out the weak kids. The military academies are tough schools, than it's supposed to be. As Americans, we only want the best of the best to go to these schools. We only want the best of the best to graduate from these institutions. And with that, we're going to be front and center and leading the way and ensuring that we got the best kids graduating from this school to go fight. And it's just it's a cool environment to be around so many type A driven young men that have great goals and expectations of who they want to be and why they want to do it. And even from a baseball program, because I just mentioned just young men from a coaching perspective, we put no limits or boundaries on our boys. I want them to jump out of airplanes. I want them to climb 14,000-foot peaks. I want them to learn how to snowboard. You're in Colorado. I want you to learn how to fly fish. I want you to be an aeronautical engineer. I want you to be an astronaut. I want you to be a rocket scientist. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to go fly jets. It's badass what we get to do. It's just not, hey, come to this school and play baseball. Come be a baseball player. Because that's the hard part too. There's a lot of coaches out there in the college ranks that all they care about is their baseball kids getting championships, going to the NCAA, getting drafted so they can put it on their board, their one jersey. They can put them in a green room, put them on their here's our uniforms, take a picture, liquid, put it on the social media. And all of a sudden kids are like, oh, yay. Yeah, me and 30 other guys just got recruited to go to that one school. There's a 35-man roster. And all of a sudden you're going, what the hell? Oh, Johnny's now back to junior college. He's in the 4.24, transfer program. And people don't even understand what that means in the NCAA rules. And wait a minute, I got the college sweatshirt and Johnny's not there anymore. And it just gets us going on a wrong path in regards to once again, when it gets back to developing men. And we got to develop men. And I think we could do a better job at developing overall men.
Yeah. And I would assume in terms of your baseball program, and thinking of it as a coach, when you are doing that, I would say, the Air Force, I guess in your program, like the Air Force Academy kind of has that piece of it. So how would you recommend, like say Oklahoma State, they're bringing you in to talk to them. And so, because it sounds like, Coach Holliday is trying to incorporate that, right? How would you also recommend guys taking more of that on?
Well, and I will tell, Coach Holliday, I'll tell him everything that we do at our program. Coach Hefner, a great friend of mine, Dallas Baptist, and we bounce things off of each other. We have our basically, I'll say, a leadership team.
Yeah.
In regards to our own upperclassmen in our program, where I give them the responsibilities. This young man that's not going to go to travel with us to Oklahoma State next week, that wasn't my idea. I mean, that came from my team captains. I divvy up a lot of things to our team captains and our seniors to say, guys, you're going to go lead millions of dollars of airplanes. You're going to lead our airmen. What do you think? And I'll help guide, facilitate, influence a little bit. But at the end of the day, I want kids to make decisions. I want kids to care. And, I'll talk to Coach Holliday and his team about what our kids do, my expectations of Americans across the country. We'll talk about teamwork. We'll talk about a cohesive unit and what it means to be part of that team and what you're truly representing. I always like to tell folks this one. I have 2 kids. My daughter just graduated from the academy. My son is a sophomore at the United States Air Force Academy. My son played baseball last year. Now he transitioned over to our parachuting team here. Everyone's like, "Oh, your son's not playing baseball." I'm like, no, he found something else. Because at this school, Trey, even as a coaching staff, we put no limits. We put no boundaries on our kids. They want to do something else, go for it. I'm perfectly excited for that to happen. But my kids, my own personal kids, I don't get to wear our nation's uniform anymore. I got to wear it for 20 years. I'm just a fat old retired guy now, but I will never take the uniform off. It is fully ingrained in who I am as an American. But my kids, my own personal kids, have raised their hand to die for you, to die for me, to die for Oklahoma State Cowboy players. And I'm going to tell them this, and I'm going to ask them, be worthy. Be a great American. For my kids to lay their lives on the line for you. That's pretty powerful when you think of it.
Absolutely.
Because today's society, Trey, as we're watching, I mean, there's people bitching, complaining about our nation, who we are, the direction that we're going. We're divided. And, if you don't like our country, you can go across the border. The Rio Grande's wide open. You go to Mexico if you don't like our country. You be proud of who we are. And people always ask these military folks, how do you thank them? You see somebody in a military uniform, you stick your dang hand out there and say, thank you. I've missed plenty of birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases, a lot of important dates out there because I was fighting for our country. I was doing the job that I was told to do. And if you see someone in the airport, you see someone wearing a nation's uniform at a coffee shop, buy them a cup of coffee. They sacrifice a lot. You see our first responders out there. You see our police force out there. Tell them thank you. As Americans, we got to be better in who we are and what our nation's going to become. And we can all do that. And it's just about treating people with respect and dignity along the way. And I don't care what party line you belong to, can care less.
Mm-hmm.
It's about respect and dignity.
100%. Man, absolutely. It's just I love it.
Come on, Trey. Let's
go. I love it. I mean, I could go so many different ways, man. It's just awesome. I want to start. I just feel like it's hard to sit here. It's hard to sit, Coach.
What's fun for you today is you get to be a dad. You get to be a dad today. You get to go watch your child play.
Yep.
And you embrace that moment. Don't be a crazy parent. Be respectful of your kid. Be respectful of other kids. I remember my son, he was probably 9U, 10U, and we're playing in an all-star baseball tournament. And here it is, the bottom, last inning. I think he's playing second base, second and third. They're up by 1, 2 outs, ground ball to him. Between his legs, game's over. They lose. He's crying. Everybody's crying. And it's like, hey, let's go. Let's go. Get your stuff out of We got to clean up the dugout. Get up. Let's go. We got 60 seconds. I'm on a timer. I'm timing them. Get out. And everyone's getting their stuff out. So they didn't have time to think about it. And like, whoa, I lost, whatever. Don't care. It's over. Get your stuff. Let's go. Hey, you know what? Let's go get some ice cream. We're 9U. We're good. It's that simple. And it's over. And it's the same thing applies out here. Kids are going to make mistakes. Kids are going to make errors. Kids are going to do some things wrong. And they're going to get, they're going to be kind of held accountable for it. I had expectations and we move forward. That's called life. And we move on, we learn from it, and we press forward. That's all you can do.
Now, speaking of those things, like, are there like tactics and things that you guys use within the academy that help them kind of like? Is there other like even like a lot of guys like use language like when I'm thinking like striking out, they have bad body language, things like that. People talk about like reset routines or flushing it and things like that. Are there ways that you guys, is it part of the academy that I'm kind of having that kind of mental routines of like how to handle failure?
Oh, well, you just you said the word failure, and it just resonates here because
adversity.
We bring up the young men and women that go to the school. They've been raised, once again, raised great morals, great values, straight A kids, high ACT, SAT scores. Everything they've done has been the top. Mm-hmm. They're the big fish in the little pond out of high school. They come here now. They're the little fish in the big pond. Everyone's very similar. And all of a sudden, we Mike Tyson them right out of the chute, man. They get punched in the face. And now what are they going to do? Because now everyone has a plan to get punched in the face. And here, there is so much failure, so much adversity that these kids go through. But along with that, you got 3,999 other kids that are facing the same failures and adversity that they go, get your ass up, get back in the fight, get back in the fight. There's no taglines here, but we do use words like honor, character, integrity. And those aren't just words, so we expect those to be actions. And we'd love that. We'd love for our kids to fail. And I know it's hard for parents to hear that, but failure is so important in life. How are you supposed to grow? How are you supposed to develop? How are you supposed to become a better leader if you've never failed? So you have to fail. And here, might be a little more limited in regards to what our failure thoughts are, but is it in the classroom? Sure, kids fail. Are they going to get knocked down in the boxing ring? Possibly. Are they going to strike out? Are they going to make a big error? Are they going to do something wrong? Sure. That's all part of life. And we all grow from it. And, as a coach, your job is to pick up the pieces. Your job is to learn how to motivate. Your job is to learn how to inspire. When I was, once again, we go back to, I was a younger coach, 23, I could MF our kids left and right. I could freaking run them. I could pull them. We can run to center and back, full gear, whatever it's going to be. What did that accomplish? Not a lot. Just a crazy tyrant. There's some crazy stories that the older guys can tell when I was a younger coach, like, oh, coach, remember when you made us do this and that? I'm like, yeah, sorry. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And now as I get older, I just play disappointed dad when something doesn't go our way. Because if we train for it, we prep for it, we had the routine, we set the process forward, and didn't work out, doesn't work out. And as we get older, I wish I had a hat in here. Every one of my hats has three letters scribbled into it. It's M-A-D. And M-A-D is not mad. It's make a difference. And as adults, our requirement is to make a difference. For young kids that are out there, their job and their life as of right now is to live their lives with no regrets. And if we can do that, we're going to be better off for it. And, for Trey, for yourself, for me, for coaches that are around the country, you know what? It's not about you. Nobody cares. It's about what you're going to give back to everyone else. And once you can figure that out, the better off we're all going to be, the better dad you're going to be, the better parent you're going to be, the better husband you're going to be, the better coach you're going to be, the better citizen you're going to be. And it's not hard. It's just take you out of the equation. It's about others. I'm going to be struck down someday. And, I'll be honest that there's the one person I'm concerned, well, two people that I got to make sure I'm doing my things right. One's my wife and one's the big guy. So hopefully I'm doing my stuff right. And hopefully when it's that time, I get to go the way I want to go and not the other way. And, that's for all of us because it's a gift. Today's a gift, and we got to treat every day as such. And you get to go have an opportunity to watch your son play and compete, and you be the best dad you possibly can today. And my job today is I'm going to be the best person I can be, whether it's to my baseball team. I'm going to be the best husband I can be to my wife. I can be the best dad I can to be to my kids, because I don't know if I get tomorrow. And if it's going to be today's the day, I want to be the day that I go out that I say, hell yeah, I did it right.
Again, Coach, you're making it really hard to just sit here. I can tell you that it's really hard just to sit. I just want to be like jumping up and down and pacing around and going to go do something. Might even just go chop wood or something later on. But oh man,
let's go make sure you made your bed this morning.
I already did. I'm good. That's done. I was done at 7 a.m. this morning. I was excited. I was excited for the conversation, ready to go, got some work done. And looking forward to this. I knew this was going to be a great one.
And Trey, I appreciate having me on. I mean, I love what I get to do. I love the opportunity that I have to be around such great young men and women. And if I can repeat myself for all the coaches that are out there, if they ever do listen to it, put this on your bucket list. Go to West Point. Go to the Naval Academy. Come to the Air Force Academy. Go see Coast Guard. Go to Merchant. And these are the young men and women that have raised their hands. These are part of the 1%ers that are willing to do something bigger and better than just for themselves. And as John F. Kennedy once said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. These are the young men and women that are doing just that. And these are special kids, and they should be treated as such. And we have a couple of sayings in our program that standards never sleep, and you're always on parade. And those are expectations of our program, that we're going to be held to a higher level. Then we're not just going to be an average program that's out there. And I want our kids to buy into that, because if we can buy into that, our kids are once again to become great men, great husbands, and great fathers. And that's what it comes out. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. And you said when we first started that this is bigger. And I appreciate you having me on, because this is bigger. And I want coaches out there to understand this is not just about the damn left column. Mm-hmm. And once we can get over that, but once again, believe me, winning's important. But how do you define it? And every coach is going to be different. And how you conduct yourselves is going to be different. But understand it's respect and dignity. And if you can do that, you're going to provide such a great mentorship, a great role model for those young men and women that folks get to coach out there. And just do it the right way.
Amen. I just final thing. I know you said the best thing is just come visit, things like that. What's another way, maybe just like to be following your program and what you guys are doing?
I don't know. I'm not a big social media guy, but we got some of that stuff. And you know what? And I'm always open. I get to go speak at the Louisiana Coaches Convention, High School Coaches Convention. I'm fired up. And this January, got to go out and talk at the Texas Coaches Convention. I'm always interested. If I can help someone, I'm in. If somebody wants to call me, send me a damn email. I'm on the Air Force Academy website. If you want anything, once again, I'm going to be judged by someone bigger than my wife someday. If I can't perform and I want to outkick everything that I get to do, I don't want to be average either. So I want to set myself apart and doing the right thing at all times. And whatever I can do to help and support, I'm willing. And it takes time, but it's worth it at the end of the day. And, once again, I appreciate you having me on, because I know there's a lot of great coaches out there. Believe me, Trey, there's thousands of better coaches than me, thousands and thousands and thousands. I am just some average Joe. I don't want to say average, but I just want to be a little bit different. But I want to be able to inspire and motivate.
Yep.
So if you can do that, hell, once again, I don't give a crap how many X's and O's and the greatest hitting coach in the world, because I don't know shit about hitting, pitching, whatever it is. So, when you look at it, it's really about motivate.
Yep.
Motivate kids.
And
I get to motivate kids that are going to go out in our military. They're going to go take lives or save lives to protect the greatest country in the world. So that gets me fired up, and I love it.
Well, I know we appreciate you, Coach. And again, I want to thank you for all you do, for sure. It's pretty amazing. Our country's better for it.
And hopefully I'm doing a good job producing our guys that go fight for it. So that's the only goal. It's not on me, though. It's on them, and I'll try.
Coach Kaz, just with some an amazing talk. The conversation just exceeded expectations. And like I said at the beginning, was just full of self-reflective questions. I think what we've noticed is great leaders, great coaches, they are asking good questions. They are making us self-reflect, and they are making us think of our decisions and the actions that we're taking. From the question he talks about, what are my priorities in life? How are you going to be an effective leader if you don't know your people? How do you define winning? How do you define success? There were so many good questions that just came up the entire time where he's challenging, he's helping himself reflect to help people make decisions. How are you going to be a better leader if you don't know how to fail? Well, we trained for it, we prepped for it, we had a routine for it, and we live with the result. Okay, we're going to keep moving forward. MAD, make a difference. As adults, we need to make a difference. Young people, it's about living your life with no regrets. About living your life, making the most full potential out of yourself. Inspiring, uplifting. And like I said, plenty of times, I have a hard enough time sitting for an extended period of time. But Coach Kaz certainly made that difficult, even more difficult, just through his conversations. And it's just a guy that I know he speaks my language, and I know a guy that I would love to be able to have been an opportunity to play for, have guys that I coach or my son to play for as well, knowing that ultimately there is a bigger purpose than just winning baseball games. And it's definitely the hard because guys are fired from not winning baseball games. So it's just a matter of how we go about that, how we go about winning, and at what costs. And you can see Coach Kaz, he's got a clear mind, peace. He's got peace in how he's living and how he's doing it. And it's amazing. So again, follow their program. If you're not following the Air Force, give us a chance. Just take a look at what they're doing. It's amazing because at the end of the day, it's about creating better people for our country. It's about people that are, like you thought, putting their hands up and devoting their lives for us. And we're thankful and we're better for it. So, but it's the amazing things that Coach Kaz and his staff are doing. Very thankful for them. Thank you for those guys at Netting Pros for, again, helping us have a bigger platform, as well as thanking you guys for making this platform possible and sticking with us here to the end. So again, thank you so much. Until next time, keep getting better.